Mira held her small child, Lilo, close as she looked across the dry, dusty plain. The sky above their planet was dull and gray, and the wind carried tiny particles of red sand that made every breath feel heavy. Mira wiped her face with the back of her hand. She had worked all day, climbing the cliffs and gathering the few plants that could still grow here. Yet it was not enough. Her stomach ached from hunger, and she knew Lilo's tiny stomach ached too. Lilo clung to her mother's neck, rubbing his small hands against her chest. His eyes were wide and tired, but he tried to smile. Mira felt her heart tighten. She had promised herself that she would never let him go hungry, but now she feared she could not keep that promise. The world around them was harsh. Their village, a small cluster of worn metal huts, barely offered shelter from the wind. The planet's resources were almost gone. Water was scarce, and the few plants that grew were often eaten by the larger alien creatures that roamed the plains. Every day was a struggle to survive. Mira had seen many families leave, hoping to find better land, but most never returned. Mira tightened her grip on Lilo. She could not leave. She could not risk him being lost or eaten. She had to find a way to survive here, no matter how impossible it seemed. She thought about the rumor she had heard a few days ago from an old trader passing through the village. The trader had spoken quietly, almost afraid to be overheard. "There is a human who helps families," he had said. "If you offer your work, he will give you food. He teaches people to grow food and take care of their children. He is kind." At first, Mira had dismissed it. She had heard stories before. Humans were rare on this planet, and most were explorers or traders who only looked for profit. But desperation was a strong force. Mira could not ignore it. She looked at Lilo's small face and knew she had no choice. She had to try. The next morning, Mira prepared for the journey. She packed what little food she had into a worn cloth bag and held Lilo's hand as they left their hut. The wind whipped against her face, and her feet sank into the dry sand. Every step was heavy, but she kept going. She did not speak much. Words felt useless. All that mattered was getting to this human who could help them. After hours of walking, Mira saw a small structure in the distance. It was made of metal and glass, standing out from the dusty plains like a jewel. Smoke rose gently from a small chimney, and she could hear the faint hum of machinery. Mira's heart raced. Could this be the place the trader spoke of? As they approached, a figure appeared at the door. He was tall and strong, with human features Mira had never seen closely before. His clothes were simple but clean, and his eyes were kind. He smiled warmly when he saw them. "Hello," he said. "You must be Mira. I am Kalen. Come inside. You and your child are safe here." Mira hesitated. She had been trained to trust no one, especially strangers. But there was something in Kalen's eyes that made her feel calm, something that told her he meant no harm. She nodded slowly and followed him inside, holding Lilo close. Inside, the air was warm and smelled of herbs and cooked food. Mira could see shelves filled with tools, books, and small plants growing in containers. Lilo's eyes widened with curiosity, and Mira felt a small smile on her lips. It had been so long since she had seen something beautiful and alive. Kalen knelt to Lilo's height and smiled. "Hello, Lilo. I am Kalen. You are safe here. You will have food, and you can play while your mother works." Lilo giggled softly, and Mira felt a tear slide down her cheek. She had never imagined anyone would treat her child with such kindness. Kalen turned to Mira. "You will not be forced to do anything you do not want. I will teach you skills to grow food, build shelters, and keep your child safe. You will be part of a community here, and together, we will survive." Mira's hands shook. She had never heard such words before. On this planet, survival often meant hiding, stealing, or risking everything. But Kaylin spoke of learning, growing, and living. It felt impossible, yet real. I do not know how to do any of these things, Mira admitted. I only know how to survive from day to day. That is enough, Kaylin said. Survival is the first skill. From there, we can build anything. You will learn quickly because you want to protect your child. That desire is stronger than any teacher. Mira felt a warmth in her chest. For the first time in months, maybe years, she felt hope. She looked at Lilo, who was exploring the small room, touching the plants and tools with curiosity. Mira realized that hope was not just for her, it was for him, too. The next days were difficult. Mira learned how to plant seeds, gather water safely, and use tools to repair broken shelters. Kaylin was patient but firm, guiding her with clear instructions. Mira discovered strength she had not known she possessed. Each day she could see Lilo growing healthier and happier. One evening, Mira sat outside the small building, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of gold and pink. Lilo lay sleeping beside her, tired from the day's learning and play. Mira took a deep breath. She knew that challenges would come. This planet was still harsh, and the alien corporation that controlled much of the land was always nearby. But for the first time, she believed they could survive. She whispered softly to Lilo, "We will be safe. We will be strong. And we will live together." The wind rustled the dry grass, and Mira felt a quiet strength settle over her. She had taken a risk, trusting a human she had never met, but the risk had given her something more valuable than she had imagined: hope, knowledge, and care for her child. For the first time, Mira allowed herself to dream of a future beyond survival. A future where Lilo could grow up learning, laughing, and exploring the world without fear. She realized that humans, like Kaylin, could bring more than food and safety. They could bring love, guidance, and a chance to thrive. Mira knew the journey would be long, and dangers still lurked beyond the safe walls. But as she watched Lilo sleep peacefully, she understood that courage, hope, and human kindness could change everything. They could survive, they could flourish. The next morning, Mira woke to the soft light spilling through the small windows of Kaylin's building. Lilo was already awake, rubbing his eyes and stretching his small arms. The child looked healthier than he had in months. Mira felt a warmth. In her chest, a tiny flame of hope she had not felt in a long time. Kaylin entered with a gentle smile. In his hands, he carried a small tray with fresh fruit and a warm drink. "Good morning," he said. "Eat well. Today, we will start learning more about growing food and caring for plants." Mira took the tray, her hands trembling slightly. "Thank you," she said softly. The warmth of the food, the kindness in Kaylin's eyes, and the safety of this place made her realize how long she had gone without real care. After breakfast, Kaylin led Mira and Lilo to a small garden behind the building. The garden was protected by a simple fence, and inside, plants of different shapes and colors grew in organized rows. Mira had never seen anything like it. On their planet, growing food was usually a struggle against the harsh soil and the roaming creatures that would eat the plants. "These are hardy plants," Kaylin explained. "They need careful attention, but they will feed you and your child. I will show you how to care for them, and soon you will be able to grow your own food without fear of running out." Mira knelt beside a small green sprout, her fingers brushing the leaves. She listened carefully as Kaylin showed her how to water the plants, check the soil, and protect them from pests. He spoke patiently, answering all her questions without impatience. Mira felt a strange feeling she had never known before. She felt respected. Someone believed she could learn, and someone believed she could survive. Lilo wandered among the rows of plants touching leaves and laughing when the wind made them shake. Mira watched him, smiling. She had spent so long thinking only about survival that she had forgotten what it felt like to see her child enjoy life. Over the next few days, Mira practiced diligently. She learned how to plant seeds, mix soil, and even repair small irrigation systems. Kaylin encouraged her every step of the way. "You are learning quickly," he said one afternoon. "Your determination is strong, and your child gives you courage." Mira noticed that each day she felt stronger, not just physically but inside. Her mind felt sharper, her heart lighter. She realized that hope could grow, just like the plants she tended. One afternoon, Kaylin called Mira to the side of the garden. "Mira," he said, "I want you to meet some other families who are learning here. They will help you and you can help them. We can build a small community together." Mira felt a mix of excitement and fear. She had never trusted other people outside her village, and the thought of meeting strangers was intimidating. But she agreed. Kaylin led her to a small gathering area where several families were learning similar skills. Their faces were tired, but their eyes held hope. "This is Anya and her children," Kaylin said. "They came here to learn how to survive and care for themselves. And this is Joran. He is helping families build shelters and gather water." Mira stepped forward carefully, introducing herself and Lilo. The other families smiled warmly. One child offered Lilo a small toy made from scraps, and he accepted it happily. Mira felt her heart lift. For the first time, she realized that she was not alone. There were others like her, struggling but willing to learn and help each other. Over. The next week, Mira worked with the other families. She shared what she had learned from Kaylin and also learned new skills from them. She saw how humans could organize, teach, and support one another in ways the aliens on the planet never had. The community felt strong, and the children played together safely while the adults worked side by side. One evening, Mira sat with Kaylin by a small fire. The sky had turned a deep red, and the stars were starting to appear. Mira held Lilo, who had fallen asleep in her arms after a long day of learning and play. "Kaylin," Mira said softly, "I never imagined life could feel like this. I thought survival meant hiding, running, and fighting every day, but here, it feels different. I feel like we can actually live." Kaylin smiled. "You are learning the human way, Mira. Humans do not just survive. We build, care, and teach. We look for solutions and hope, even in difficult worlds. You are part of that now." Mira looked up at the stars, feeling a strange mix of awe and gratitude. She realized that Kaylin had not just given her food or shelter. He had given her knowledge, guidance, and trust, and most importantly, he had shown her that humans could bring hope in places where despair had taken root. The next day, Mira noticed something new in herself. She walked through the garden and realized she was thinking about the future, not just the next meal. She was planning, imagining what could grow next season, how Lilo could learn and play, and how other families could thrive. She felt a sense of purpose she had not known in years. Lilo ran up to her, holding a small sprout he had dug from the soil. "Look, Mama! I planted it!" he exclaimed. Mira laughed and hugged him tightly. She felt pride swelling in her chest. Her child was learning, growing, and being cared for. For the first time, she could see a life beyond daily struggle. As days passed, Mira's confidence grew. She learned to repair the garden fences, fix small tools, and even help Kaylin teach other families. She realized that humans had a remarkable way of turning survival into opportunity. Every action, every shared skill, every moment of care strengthened the community. One afternoon, while Mira was teaching Lilo how to water the plants properly, Kaylin approached her. "Mira, The alien corporation watches our settlement sometimes. They are curious about what we are doing, but do not worry. We are prepared and you are learning fast. Soon, this garden will feed not only your family, but many others. Mira nodded. The thought of danger still made her uneasy, but she felt ready. She was no longer a lone survivor. She was part of something bigger. She understood that knowledge, kindness, and human cooperation were more powerful than fear. That night, Mira watched Lilo sleep peacefully, surrounded by warmth and safety. She thought of the harsh plains, the wind, and the uncertainty she had faced before arriving here. She realized that courage, hope, and trust could create miracles even in a world that seemed impossible. Mira whispered softly, "We will learn, we will grow, and we will thrive. I will keep you safe, Lilo. We can build a future together." The fire crackled gently, and Mira felt the weight of the past lift slightly. She knew the challenges were not gone, but she also knew that with Kalen's guidance and human ingenuity, survival was no longer enough. They could live, flourish, and make the world a better place for themselves and others. For the first time in her life, Mira felt true hope. The next morning, Mira woke to a soft hum of activity outside. She opened her eyes and saw Lilo already awake, carefully carrying a small watering can toward the garden. Mira smiled. The child had learned so quickly how to help. She rose and followed him, feeling a sense of purpose she had never known before. Kalen was already at the garden, checking the plants. He greeted them warmly. "Good morning, Mira. Today we will work on strengthening the community. The alien corporation may come back, and we need to be ready. But preparation is more than just building fences. We need knowledge, unity, and trust." Mira nodded. She felt ready. After the last encounter, she had grown confident in her abilities. She had learned how to protect herself, her child, and even others. She was beginning to understand the strength that came from working together. Kalen gathered the families near the garden. "Each of you has unique skills," he said. "Some are strong in building, some in growing food, some in caring for children. Together, we are more powerful than the corporation's machines. Today, we will learn teamwork and organization." Mira watched as everyone listened carefully. The adults shared what they knew, while Kalen organized tasks. Mira was assigned to help others repair fences and protect the plants. Lilo stayed close, helping small children carry tools and water. Mira felt pride in the child's curiosity and care. As the day passed, the families worked in harmony. Some repaired fences, others reinforced shelters, and a few prepared hidden food supplies. Mira noticed how every small action contributed to the greater good. The settlement was no longer just a group of people trying to survive. It was a community, united by purpose and care. During a break, Mira walked with Kalen to the edge of the settlement. They looked out over the dusty plains where the alien corporation had sent its machines before. Mira felt a small twinge of fear. "Do you think they will return?" she asked. Kalen smiled gently. "They may. But they underestimate humans. They have strength, but humans have intelligence, courage, and unity. We can face challenges because we learn, plan, and act together. You are already showing that, Mira. You are not just surviving. You are leading." Mira felt a surge of confidence. She had never thought of herself as a leader, only as a mother trying to protect her child. But now she realized that her actions, her care, and her knowledge could influence the safety and growth of everyone around her. That afternoon, while repairing a section of the fence, Mira noticed a group of alien scouts approaching from the distance. They were small but quick, trying to find weaknesses in the settlement. Mira quickly signaled to Kalen. Kalen came running with other adults. "Stay calm," he instructed. "We will guide them away without fighting. Observe and learn." Mira followed the instructions carefully. Together, they moved quietly along the paths, guiding the scouts toward empty areas where they could not cause harm. The hidden signals and traps they had set earlier worked perfectly. The scouts became confused and eventually retreated, unable to find anything valuable. Mira breathed a sigh of relief. She realized how much they had learned and grown, even small. Humans, like her, could protect the settlement using intelligence, planning, and cooperation. She looked at Lilo, who had been watching quietly. The child's wide eyes reflected awe and curiosity. Mira felt proud that he was learning courage and cleverness without ever being in danger. After the scouts left, Kalen gathered everyone. "Today was a test," he said. "You all did well. Remember, humans do not rely only on strength. We rely on knowledge, care, and teamwork. Each of you contributed to this success. Together, we are strong." Mira felt a warmth in her heart. She looked around at the other families. They were tired, but their faces held determination. For the first time, Mira realized that survival could be more than enduring. It could be about building, teaching, and growing a community that could face any challenge. That evening, Mira walked to the garden with Lilo. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. The plants glowed softly in the light, strong and healthy. Mira touched the leaves gently, remembering how fragile they had seemed when she first arrived. Now they were thriving. Lilo ran ahead, laughing as he watered the plants. Mira followed, feeling a sense of peace and purpose. She thought about the lessons Kalen had taught her: preparation, observation, strategy, and cooperation. She realized that these lessons were not just about survival. They were about life, growth, and hope. Later, Mira helped Kalen teach the children basic skills. They learned how to carry water safely, how to plant seeds, and how to help their families. Mira noticed how quickly Lilo and the other children absorbed the lessons. She realized that the next generation could grow stronger, not just by surviving, but by learning, caring, and cooperating. As night fell, Mira sat near the fire with Kalen. The stars above the plain were bright and clear. Mira held Lilo in her lap. "Kalen," she said softly, "I never thought we could do so much. I thought we could only survive, but now I see we can thrive. We can protect ourselves, learn, and help others." Kalen nodded. "That is the power of humans, Mira. Courage, intelligence, and compassion make us strong. You are already showing it. Every small action, every lesson, every act of care adds to our strength. Together, we can face challenges and grow stronger." Mira looked at Lilo, who was now asleep, exhausted from the day's learning and play. She felt a wave of gratitude and determination. She had taken a risk by trusting Kalen and the humans, and that risk had given her knowledge, hope, and community. She realized that the future could be bright, even on a harsh and dangerous planet. Mira whispered to herself, "We will keep learning. We will keep growing. We will face whatever comes together. And one day this settlement will be strong, safe, and thriving for all who live here." The wind blew softly through the garden, rustling the leaves. Mira felt the weight of fear lift, slightly, replaced by confidence and purpose. She knew the alien corporation might return, but she also knew that humans had a unique strength. Not strength of machines or weapons, but strength of mind, heart, and cooperation. For the first time, Mira felt truly ready to face the challenges ahead, ready to protect her child, and ready to build a future filled with hope, learning, and human ingenuity. Mira woke before sunrise. The wind was cooler today, brushing softly against her face. She held Lilo close as he yawned and rubbed his eyes. The garden behind Kalen's building glimmered with dew. Tiny green leaves reflected the faint light, showing the promise of growth. Mira smiled softly. For the first time, she felt that her child could grow up with safety, food, and knowledge. Kalen was already outside, checking the plants. When he saw Mira and Lilo, he waved. "Good morning, Mira. Today we will prepare for something important. The alien corporation watches our settlement. We need to protect ourselves and the garden." Mira's heart skipped. She had suspected dangers before, but hearing Kalen say it out loud made it real. She felt fear, but it was joined by determination. She had learned much since arriving here. She had skills, knowledge, and courage she did not know she possessed. She would not let Lilo or the community face harm. Kalen began explaining. "The corporation may try to take resources or disrupt our work. They have machines and guards. We need to be ready. I will show you how to protect the settlement and plants without fighting unnecessarily. Intelligence and strategy will help us survive." Mira nodded. She listened carefully as Kalen taught her how to reinforce the garden fences, create safe paths, and use the terrain to their advantage. He showed her how to hide water and food containers, how to set simple warning signals, and how to plan quickly in case of danger. Mira practiced every step with determination. Lilo followed her carrying small tools. "Mama, I want to help," he said. Mira smiled, realizing that her child was learning courage and care at the same time. "Thank you, Lilo. You will be very brave," she said. By mid-morning, Mira and Kalen had finished their preparations. Mira looked over the garden and the settlement. The fences were sturdier, paths safer, and signals ready. For the first time, she felt capable of protecting more than just herself and Lilo. She could help others, too. The day passed quietly until mid-afternoon. A faint hum came from the distance. Mira stiffened. She looked toward the horizon. Machines were moving slowly toward the settlement. The alien corporation had arrived. Mira's heart pounded. She gripped Lilo's hand tightly. Kalen called out, "Stay calm, Mira. Watch and learn. We will not run. Humans face challenges with strategy and courage." Mira followed Kalen's instructions carefully. They moved to positions behind the garden, staying low and observing. The corporation's machines were large, with clawed arms and sensors scanning the ground. Guards walked around, looking for anything valuable. Kalen whispered, "Notice their patterns. Watch how they move. Use the terrain to our advantage." Mira focused. She remembered everything she had learned. The fences would slow the machines. The hidden paths would allow people to move safely. The warning signals would alert everyone if the machines came too close. Mira realized that strategy could make a small group stronger than a larger force. When the first machine reached the fence it tried to push through, the fence held firm. Kalen activated a small noise signal and the guards turned toward it. Mira watched as the team quietly moved to a better position, using the signals and terrain to confuse the intruders. The corporation's machines were powerful, but they were not smart. Mira felt pride. She was learning how human intelligence and preparation could overcome strength. She realized that humans had a unique gift, the ability to plan, observe, and act in ways that machines or aliens could not anticipate. After several tense minutes, the intruders began to retreat. Kalen signaled to Mira and the other families that it was safe. Mira's legs felt weak from adrenaline, but she felt exhilaration too. They had faced a real threat and survived. Later, Mira helped repair minor damage to the garden. She saw that every skill she had learned mattered. Even small actions, like reinforcing a fence or moving a plant to safety, made a difference. She began to see herself not just as a survivor, but as a protector, a teacher, and a builder. Lilo ran to her holding a small flower he had picked. "Mama, we did it," he said. Mira hugged him tightly. She felt tears in her eyes. Courage. And knowledge had saved them today. Her child had witnessed it too, learning bravery without fear. That evening, Mira and Kaylin gathered the families. They sat together near the fire, discussing what had happened. Kaylin spoke calmly. "Today, we learned that intelligence, preparation, and courage are more powerful than fear. You all did very well. Every small action mattered. We are stronger together." Mira felt a sense of pride. She looked around at the other families. They were tired, but their faces held determination. Mira realized that survival was no longer about hiding or running. Survival was about knowledge, strategy, and cooperation. Humans had a way of turning danger into opportunity. After the meeting, Mira walked to the garden. She touched the plants gently, remembering how fragile they had seemed before. Now, they stood strong, protected, and growing. She realized that this garden was more than food. It was a symbol of what humans could achieve through care, learning, and cooperation. That night, Mira tucked Lilo into bed. She whispered softly, "We are safe. We are learning. We can protect ourselves, and one day we will help others too." Lilo smiled in his sleep. Mira felt a wave of gratitude for Kaylin and the humans who had taught them so much. She realized that even in a harsh, dangerous world, knowledge, courage, and kindness could create hope and strength. Mira stayed awake for a while, watching the stars. She thought about the challenges ahead. The alien corporation would return, and life on this planet would never be easy. But she also thought about the skills she had learned, the bonds she had formed, and the courage she had discovered inside herself. For the first time, she felt ready, not just to survive, but to thrive. She understood that humans had the power to turn fear into learning, danger into strategy, and struggle into growth. She knew that the future, while uncertain, could be full of hope, knowledge, and care. The sun rose slowly over the plains, casting long shadows across the settlement. Mira woke early, feeling a mixture of determination and concern. The events of the past days had shown her how quickly danger could approach, and she knew the alien corporation had not given up. She looked at Lilo, still asleep, and felt a surge of protective courage. She would do everything she could to keep him safe. Kaylin was already at the garden inspecting the plants and structures. When he saw Mira, he nodded. "Good morning," he said. "Today we will prepare for a larger challenge. The corporation will likely test us again. We must be ready, stronger than before." Mira listened carefully as Kaylin explained their plan. They would strengthen the fences, create hidden storage for food and water, and teach families to work together even more efficiently. Each person would have a role, and every action would matter. Mira felt a sense of responsibility. She was no longer just a mother trying to survive. She was a protector, a teacher, and a leader. Lilo joined her, carrying a small basket of tools. "Mama, I want to help too," he said, his eyes bright with excitement. Mira smiled and hugged him. "You are learning fast, Lilo. Every little bit helps." Throughout the morning, Mira worked alongside the other families, repairing structures and reinforcing the fences. Kaylin moved among them, giving advice and encouragement. Mira noticed how humans could turn simple cooperation into strength. Each person's contribution, no matter how small, added to the safety and resilience of the settlement. As they worked, a group of scouts approached from the distance. This time, the machines were larger and more advanced. Mira's heart raced, but she steadied herself. Kaylin signaled for everyone to take their positions and remain calm. Mira moved quickly to guide a group of families to safety, while keeping an eye on Lilo. She remembered everything she had learned about strategy and observation. Humans had a unique ability to plan, adapt, and act with intelligence. Mira felt proud that she could use these skills to protect her child and others. The alien machines reached the outer fences, attempting to breach the barriers. Mira and Kaylin had anticipated this. Hidden paths allowed families to move without being seen, and warning signals created confusion. The machines, powerful but predictable, struggled against the careful planning of humans. Mira directed families to move supplies to hidden storage areas, while Kaylin led another group to guide the machines away. The strategy worked perfectly. The machines became disoriented and eventually retreated. Mira felt a rush of triumph. They had faced a larger threat and succeeded through intelligence, courage, and teamwork. After the retreat, Mira walked through the settlement, inspecting the plants and shelters. She saw families working together, repairing minor damage and supporting each other. The sense of unity was stronger than ever. Mira realized that true strength came not from weapons or size, but from cooperation, knowledge, and care. Kaylin gathered everyone near the garden. "Today we faced a test of our skills and teamwork," he said. "You all did exceptionally well. Humans survive not just by strength, but by intelligence, courage, and unity. Each of you contributed to our success. This is the power of humanity." Mira felt her chest swell with pride. She looked around at the other families, seeing the determination and confidence on their faces. For the first time, she truly understood the meaning of resilience. Humans could face adversity, adapt, and grow stronger. They could turn danger into opportunity. That evening, Mira sat by the fire with Lilo in her lap. She watched the stars above the plains, feeling a quiet sense of hope. She thought about the challenges ahead, knowing that the alien corporation might return again. But she also knew that with the skills, knowledge, and unity they had built, they could face any obstacle. "Kaylin is teaching us well," she whispered to Lilo. "We are learning, growing, and becoming stronger every day. We can protect ourselves and help others too." Lilo smiled sleepily, pressing his small hand against hers. Mira felt a deep sense of gratitude for Kaylin and the humans who had taught them so much. She realized that human ingenuity and compassion could create safety and hope even in the most difficult worlds. The next morning, Mira rose early to continue her work. She inspected the garden, repaired minor damage to shelters, and guided families in planting new crops. Kaylin joined her, showing how to use natural resources efficiently and teaching how to anticipate potential threats. Mira absorbed every lesson, understanding that knowledge was one of the greatest tools humans had. Later, Mira helped organize a group to expand the settlement slightly. They built new shelters, reinforced existing ones, and planted additional food sources. Mira felt a sense of accomplishment. Each step they took made the settlement stronger, safer, and more self-sufficient. She understood that humans could turn even a harsh planet into a thriving home through planning, care, and cooperation. During a break, Mira looked out over the plains. She noticed movement in the distance. This time, it was not the corporation. It was a group of travelers curious about the settlement. Mira felt excitement. Perhaps humans could also inspire others, showing that survival and growth were possible even in a difficult world. Mira realized that their efforts were creating a ripple effect. The settlement was no longer just a place to survive. It was becoming a symbol of hope, courage, and human ingenuity. People were learning that intelligence, care, and unity could overcome challenges that seemed impossible. As the sun set, Mira returned to the garden with Lilo. The plants were thriving, stronger than ever. Mira touched the leaves gently, remembering how fragile they had seemed when she first arrived. Now they stood as a testament to growth, care, and perseverance. Lilo ran ahead, laughing as he watered the plants. Mira followed, feeling a sense of peace and purpose. She realized that humans did not just survive. They thrive through knowledge, cooperation, and compassion. Every action, every lesson, every act of care strengthened their community and their future. That night, Mira sat by the fire with Kaylin. She held Lilo close, feeling the warmth of the flames and the quiet strength of the settlement around them. "Kaylin," she said softly, "I see now how humans turn challenges into opportunity. We are learning, growing, and becoming stronger. I believe we can face anything." Kaylin nodded. "That is the power of humanity, Mira. Courage, knowledge, and unity make us strong. You are already showing it. Every small action matters. Together we can overcome any challenge and thrive." Mira looked at Lilo, who was now asleep, exhausted from a day of learning and helping. She felt gratitude for the guidance, knowledge, and care that humans had shared with them. She knew that the future, while uncertain, could be filled with hope, growth, and strength. Mira whispered softly, "We will continue to learn. We will continue to grow. And together, we will build a strong, safe, and thriving home for everyone." The wind rustled the leaves of the garden, and Mira felt a quiet strength settle over her. She knew that challenges would continue, but she also knew that with human ingenuity, courage, and cooperation, they could face anything and emerge stronger. The morning sun spread a warm glow across the settlement. Mira woke to the sounds of children laughing and water flowing from the small irrigation channels. Lilo was already awake, carrying a basket of fresh vegetables from the garden. Mira smiled. Their lives were beginning to change, and every day brought new hope. Kaylin was outside, teaching a small group of adults how to construct stronger shelters using local materials. He noticed Mira and waved. "Good morning, Mira. Today we will focus on expanding the garden and preparing for future growth. We need to ensure everyone has enough food and space to learn and thrive." Mira nodded, feeling a sense of purpose. She had learned much since arriving, and now she could share her knowledge with others. She gathered a few families and led them to a new area of land nearby. The soil was richer here, and small streams of water flowed gently across the plain. Mira felt a thrill of possibility. They could grow more food, build more shelters, and create a thriving community. "Look at this place," Mira said. "We can plant many crops here. If we work together, we can feed everyone and even help other families who may arrive later." The adults nodded, inspired by Mira's confidence. Lilo ran ahead, helping small children carry seeds and tools. Mira watched him and felt pride. He was learning courage, responsibility, and care. He was growing alongside the settlement, becoming a strong and capable child. Kaylin joined Mira and the families, showing them how to prepare the soil, plant seeds, and protect young plants from the wind. "Remember," he said, "humans survive and thrive not just through strength, but through knowledge, care, and cooperation. Every seed you plant, every shelter you build, strengthens our future." Mira and the other families worked diligently. They planted rows of vegetables, fruit-bearing plants, and small trees. They built fences and channels to protect the crops and make watering efficient. Mira realized how much humans could accomplish when they worked together. Each person's contribution added to the strength and growth of the entire settlement. By midday, the new garden was taking shape. Mira stepped back, brushing her hands on her clothes. She looked at the rows of young plants stretching across the land. Each sprout represented hope, care, and a future for Lilo and the other children. She felt a deep sense of pride and responsibility. Kaylin gathered everyone near the garden. "Today, we have made great progress," he said. "This is more than food. It is life, growth, and knowledge. Humans can turn even harsh lands into thriving homes. Remember that what we build together now will support many generations." Mira listened carefully, She had felt fear and uncertainty when she first arrived. Now she felt confidence and purpose. She realized that humans could create hope in any situation. Knowledge, courage, and cooperation were powerful tools that could overcome even the harshest worlds. Later, Mira helped organize the children into small groups. Each group learned simple skills like planting seeds, watering crops, and caring for small animals. Mira watched Lilo and the other children, eagerly participating. She felt joy seeing them learn responsibility, teamwork, and care for life. As the sun began to set, Mira walked through the settlement, inspecting the shelters, gardens, and water channels. She noticed families talking, children laughing, and everyone helping one another. The settlement was no longer just a place to survive. It had become a community filled with hope, growth, and learning. Kalen joined Mira by the central garden. "You have done well, Mira," he said. "You have learned quickly and guided others. Humans have the ability to grow stronger together, to teach and to protect. You are showing that power." Mira felt a sense of fulfillment. She had started this journey worried about survival. Now she was helping build a future where her child and many others could thrive. She realized that humans did not just face challenges, they transformed them into opportunities. That evening, Mira and Lilo sat by the fire. Lilo was tired from helping in the garden and playing with the other children. Mira held him close, watching the stars appear in the sky above the plains. She thought about the days to come and the work that still needed to be done. "We are growing, Lilo," she whispered. "We are learning, working together, and building something strong. One day, many people will come here, and they will be safe. They will learn to grow food, protect themselves, and care for each other. That is the power of humans." Lilo yawned and smiled. "I want to help everyone, Mama," he said softly. Mira hugged him tightly. She knew he already understood the lessons of courage, care, and cooperation. He was learning that humans could create hope and change the world. Over the next few days, the settlement continued to grow. Mira helped families build new shelters and repair old ones. She taught children how to care for the garden and helped adults strengthen fences and irrigation channels. Every action, every small effort, contributed to a stronger, safer, and more thriving community. One afternoon, Mira noticed travelers approaching from the horizon. They were human families, curious and cautious, looking for safety and guidance. Mira felt excitement and responsibility. She ran to Kalen, pointing to the newcomers. "They are coming to us," she said. "We can help them, teach them, and give them hope." Kalen smiled. "Exactly. Humans do not just survive alone. We share knowledge, care, and strength. Your actions, Mira, will guide many more people. Together we can build a future that is safe and thriving for everyone." Mira ran toward the travelers, holding Lilo's hand. The new families were tired, hungry, and uncertain, but Mira welcomed them with warmth and care. She showed them the gardens, shelters, and water channels. Slowly their faces brightened with hope. Mira realized that humans had the power to transform, not only themselves but others as well. That night, Mira sat with Kalen and the other families around the fire. Lilo slept peacefully beside her. Mira thought about the journey from survival to growth, from fear to hope. She realized that humans had the ability to create strength through knowledge, care, and unity. "We are building a future," she whispered, softly. "A future where everyone can thrive, learn, and be safe. And it will continue to grow, stronger and brighter with each passing day." Kalen nodded. "That is the power of humanity, Mira. Courage, intelligence, and compassion allow us to turn even the harshest worlds into homes. You are showing it every day." Mira looked at Lilo, who was now dreaming peacefully. She felt gratitude, hope, and determination. She knew that the challenges ahead would not be easy, but she also knew that humans could overcome them together. For the first time, Mira felt that their future was secure. She understood that humans were capable of transforming even the most difficult world into a place of growth, learning, and care. She smiled softly, holding Lilo close, knowing that together they could face any challenge and build a strong, thriving community for generations to come. The sun rose over the plains, painting the sky with shades of gold and pink. Mira woke to the sounds of laughter and activity in the settlement. Lilo was already outside, helping a group of children carry fresh vegetables to the storage area. Mira smiled. The child had grown brave and responsible, learning the lessons of courage and care with every passing day. Kalen approached Mira, a warm smile on his face. "Good morning," he said. "Today will be important. The alien corporation may try, again, but we are stronger now. The settlement, the gardens, and the families are ready." Mira nodded, feeling confidence deep in her chest. She had learned so much since arriving: skills, knowledge, and courage. She had grown not only as a mother but as a protector and a leader. She was ready to face any challenge for Lilo and the settlement. Throughout the morning, Mira helped the families prepare for the corporation's return. Fences were reinforced, hidden paths were checked, and supplies were organized. Mira guided children in caring for the gardens while ensuring they remained safe. Every small action strengthened the settlement, and she saw the power of humans working together. As the day progressed, a low hum rose from the distance. Mira's heart beat faster. The alien corporation had returned, and this time, the machines were larger and more numerous. Kalen signaled for everyone to remain calm. "Remember," he said, "humans are stronger than they seem. We use intelligence, courage, and unity. Observe, plan, and act carefully. Together, we can protect this settlement." Mira took Lilo's hand, guiding him to a safe position. She watched the machines advance, noting their movements and patterns. The settlement was ready. Families moved along hidden paths, guided by signals and observation. The gardens, shelters, and water channels were protected, and every person knew their role. The corporation's machines attempted to breach the fences, but human preparation worked perfectly. The machines became disoriented, unable to find a clear path. Mira directed a small group to move supplies to safety, while Kalen led another group to guide the machines away. Strategy, planning, and intelligence overcame brute force. Mira felt pride as she observed the settlement in action. Every person, every child, every adult contributed to the protection and strength of the community. Humans had turned fear into knowledge and courage, transforming the challenge into an opportunity to prove their resilience. After several tense hours, the machines began to retreat, defeated by careful planning and cooperation. Mira's heart raced, and then a sense of triumph filled her. The settlement had faced its greatest challenge yet and had prevailed. Humans, small in number, had overcome larger forces through unity, intelligence, and courage. Kalen gathered the families together. "Today you have proven the strength of humanity," he said. "We survive not through force alone, but through knowledge, cooperation, and care. Each of you contributed to this victory. This is the power that makes humans remarkable." Mira looked around at the families. Faces once weary now shone with confidence and pride. Children laughed and shared stories of how they had helped. Adults smiled, knowing they had done their part. Mira felt a deep sense of fulfillment. She had arrived as someone seeking only to survive. Now, she was part of a thriving community, stronger together than any corporation or machine. That evening, Mira walked through the settlement, inspecting the gardens and shelters. She saw families tending to plants, children playing safely, and adults reinforcing structures. The settlement was alive with energy, growth, and hope. Mira realized that humans had the ability to create life, safety, and learning even in the harshest environments. She sat by the central fire with Lilo, holding him in her lap. The stars twinkled above the plains, and a gentle breeze carried the scent of the gardens. Mira thought of all they had accomplished, learning, growing, protecting, and thriving. Kaylin has shown us the human way, she whispered to Lilo. We have learned to be brave, smart, and caring. We can face any challenge together, and we can create a future where everyone is safe and strong. Lilo smiled, resting his head against her shoulder. I want to help everyone, Mama, he said softly. Mira hugged him tightly, knowing that he already understood the lessons of courage, care, and unity. In the following days, Mira helped integrate the new families who had arrived, teaching them skills for growing food, building shelters, and protecting the settlement. The community expanded, stronger and more resilient with each new member. Mira saw how humans shared knowledge, cared for one another, and created opportunity in every challenge. One morning, Mira and Kaylin stood on a small hill, overlooking the settlement. The gardens stretched in organized rows, shelters were strong and orderly, and families moved about with purpose and energy. Mira felt awe at what humans had achieved. We have grown so much, she said softly. From surviving day to day, we are now thriving. We have hope, skills, and a community. I never imagined life could be like this. Kaylin smiled. That is the power of humanity, Mira. Intelligence, courage, and cooperation allow us to transform fear into opportunity and danger into growth. You, Lilo, and the settlement have shown that humans can create a future, no matter how harsh the world. Mira felt a swell of gratitude. She thought of the days when survival had been uncertain, when every day had been a struggle for life. Now she saw a bright horizon, a community thriving through knowledge, care, and courage. She realized that humans did not just endure, they built, taught, and inspired. That evening, Mira and Lilo sat together in the central garden. The children played among the plants, laughing and learning. Mira watched them, feeling hope for the next generation. She knew that the knowledge, courage, and care they were learning would make them strong and capable. We are safe, Lilo, she whispered. We have learned, we have grown, and we are strong. Together, we can face any challenge. Together, we can build a bright future. Lilo smiled and hugged her. I want to help everyone, Mama. I want to be brave like you. Mira hugged him tightly, feeling joy and pride. She realized that the settlement was more than a home. It was a living example of human ingenuity, compassion, and strength. It was proof that humans could thrive, even in the harshest worlds. As the stars filled the sky, Mira watched the settlement below. Families worked together, children laughed, and the gardens thrived. Mira knew that challenges would continue, but she also knew that humans were stronger than any challenge. Courage, knowledge, and unity could overcome fear, danger, and hardship. For the first time, Mira felt a deep sense of peace. She understood that she and Lilo, along with the human settlement, had transformed a dangerous world into a place of growth, hope, and life. She smiled, knowing that humanity's strength would continue to guide them into the future. Mira held Lilo close, whispering softly, We have survived, we have learned, and we have thrived. Together we can face anything, and together we will build a future full of hope, strength, and life. The wind rustled through the gardens, and Mira felt the quiet power of human resilience. She knew that no matter what challenges came next, humans would continue to grow, teach, protect, and inspire.